Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I am joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Indeed.
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. Just a scattering of topics throughout the week, all summarized into one neat little package for you to consume at your leisure.
You're welcome.
So we've been doing our Psycho-Synopsis live.
The past couple of weeks.
Yeah, because we've had things come up where we haven't gotten enough time to actually make the video, but that changes back to normal now.
Indeed it does. Yay.
Anyways, we got a bunch of things to talk about, including some news that came out just this morning that we actually adapted this to include. So stay tuned for that.
But let's begin with our first client, which is AH.
Okay, so as you can see here, it says L plus ratio plus cope.
Hehe.
Remember that petition pushing for Amber Heard to be removed from the Aquaman 2 we reported on some time ago? It's still going, accepting signatures, and now it's back with a vengeance thanks to Johnny Depp's defamation suit that is being televised everywhere.
Oh yes, and I'm pretty sure by now it has more signatures than the number shown on screen.
Yes, I just wanted to make it a funny image for everybody to laugh at, because that's what I do. Yeah, so we don't really get into politics that much on this channel. I did actually talk about my opinion on AH on a different channel. You can check that out. It should be in our community tab. There should be a link to it. But it's interesting that, now that this, whole case is going on, we're seeing that for the first time ever, a lot of people are getting to see just the behavior of AH and how she behaves and how, things go from there. And as a result, it's very easy to see who is the person who's guilty here and who's the one who's the victim, despite what mainstream media may want you to believe otherwise.
Yes.
You can see from her behavior on the stands even, without even having to know background, you could just see how AH is trying to play things off and how it's not really working, despite what the mainstream media wants you to think about it.
Yeah. She can't even get a tear out.
Yeah, and again, you can understand that we are taking a side here because of what we have seen with our own eyes. We're not doing it out of political anything. We're doing it based on the fact of what we've seen and what we've heard and the evidence that is piled up against AH.
Oh, yes.
I don't think Johnny is the most amazing person either.
But he is innocent in this case.
Yes. Men can be victims, too. This is an important case for that, to remind people that just because a woman says something doesn't always mean that it's true. And that you shouldn't just blindly accept the word of a woman. Just because women are more likely to report abuse does not mean that men are not abused as well. They just might not come forward with it.
Indeed.
The signatures on this petition keeps going up.
They said that they've reduced her screen time to about 10 minutes.
That, and also they said that everybody who signed this at one point are just bots and whatever, and they're not going to believe it. But it's getting very easy to understand that it's not bots.
No. Her supporters are bots.
Yeah, actually some of them are, as proven by certain articles. But we're not advocating for anybody to lose their job here. We're advocating for fair treatment on both sides.
Yes, which we have not seen until now.
And the media is still making it very clear who they favor, and that's where we have the problem.
Oh, yes. But that's all to say on that topic, so let's move on. Our next client is Ezra Miller. Again, this guy needs real therapy.
The Flash and Fantastic Beasts franchise star Ezra Miller has been accused of inflicting various abuses ranging from physical violence to emotional manipulation on a former intimate partner. Now, we're not going to go into intimate detail because we don't do that here.
No.
But as you can see, she says, "You took everything from me, Ezra. Miller is not a good person, and I can finally say so without being terrified. #abuser. And there's a bunch of different things she brings up about being misgendered, pronouns being used incorrectly, because Ezra Miller does, I believe, use the pronouns they, them.
Yeah, which is so confusing.
Yeah, so we're not meaning to misgender or mislabel anybody here, but keep that in mind that we're just reporting on the news. That's all we're doing here. If you're upset about that, you don't like that we've done it, you could be upset, but we're just reporting what we see.
Yeah.
And he needs serious help.
That's an understatement.
But as anybody can see now, he needs clear help with stuff that he's dealing with.
And maybe a straitjacket.
Maybe. He needs to be taken off the street. He needs somebody to get him into rehab. Now, one can argue that rehab may not help him because of the way rehab is spun and used in Hollywood culture and, celebrity culture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind, we only have images from the person who's made these allegations, and they've been deleted since then. Maybe there's some reason they were deleted. Regardless of whether it's true or not, keep in mind that this is more negative press on top of Ezra Miller's already negative press, and a Flash movie coming out.
Yeah, which has been delayed multiple times for various reasons, and the third Fantastic Beast movie sucked.
It's not looking good for Warner Brothers or for Ezra. I do hope he gets the help that he needs, but it doesn't seem like anybody's stepping forward to do that. At a certain point, you have to ask how long Warner Brothers can ignore this.
Probably until they run out of money.
I don't know. You'd think at this point there'd be some action taken, but because of certain factors, he's like immune from consequences, which I think is kind of unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope he gets the help. I hope he doesn't hurt anybody else. I hope he's stopped before he hurts anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And I really hope this story has a somewhat good ending, or as best possible of a good ending that it could be at this point.
Yep. But I still think he needs a straitjacket and a padded cell. Let's move on.
Let's flash forward.
And bring in our next client, Green Lantern.
Not too long ago, the cutting-edge postmodernist Animal Man and Doom Patrol writer Grant Morrison was working on Green Lantern and had an idea that fits right in with current DC creative standards, Hal Jordan being pansexual.
What does that even mean?
I believe pansexual, and I could be wrong, and I probably am, even though they change definitions all the time, but I believe someone who's pansexual likes people for the contents of their mind rather than their body or whatever. That's what I've heard.
I thought it was just wanting to mate with anything.
I don't know.
Oof.
As you can see here, there's a comic strip here, and Grant Morrison mentions that this was a strip he kind of envisioned, how being kind of pansexual because of his, stuff, and it refers to them dating here. He didn't get a chance to go further with it. Honestly, leave established characters alone.
He's already in love with Carol.
I'll be honest, I don't keep up with Green Lantern. I haven't kept up with him in quite some time. I don't know what the current situation is in the comics and whatever, but they don't need to keep taking established characters and changing them. They can take lesser known characters or characters that were passed over or put aside and potentially bring them back and potentially use that.
But it doesn't make sense with Hal Jordan. Yes, he's the most popular Green Lantern. Yes, he is a very well-known character. But he already has an established female love interest. So just stop. Seriously, stop it.
I believe that love interest has changed in the comics from what I recall, as I believe that, what was her name?
Carol, I forget her last name, but she becomes a Star Sapphire.
Yes, so she's not around as much anymore. I don't know what the current situation of him in the comics is right now. What I do know is I'm glad that this didn't go forward, that it's not canon. I think it's stupid to keep changing established characters to make them fit in more with modern times. Leave them alone.
Seriously, just stop. It's getting old.
It's really annoying. It's okay to either make new characters or to just not change them. People have liked these characters for years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm tired of this trope in comics and movies and all this kind of stuff where we need to change characters to make them something more fitting with the current times. Make new characters and don't base their entire who they are around this one individual quality, because that's when you make characters that are shallow, soulless, and nobody wants to read, which is why they continue to take characters that were already established and change them, because they know they can't actually do that.
What he said.
I'm tired of it. I don't need you to change every character to make them fit in with modern times.
Yeah, you're not the only one there.
If you can't make original characters that are based off more than just their sexuality or race or whatever, hire people who can, because they exist.
Like me.
But you wouldn't work for them.
Not anymore.
But that's the thing. They're never going to do that, because that would admit being wrong, and for them they can't do that, so they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to find this invisible audience that has never revealed itself, that only tweet things on Twitter, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Tweets aren't sales.
Nope.
Oh, and also volume of shipped does not mean people are buying them.
Yeah. So, let's move on. Speaking of comic sales, we got Tom Taylor again!
Yes, this will help us sell comics.
Later,
my comic sales! Superman is set to get a new cape from his boyfriend in the upcoming DC Pride special that is the perfect modern upgrade for John Kent. Not
at all. You really think people are going to look, oh look, he's coming to save us, while he's wearing a cape like that? They're going, in reality, people would laugh.
That, and also, think about it this way. He already sticks out enough. He might be invulnerable, but flying around with the rainbow cape is basically saying, look at me, I'm a target.
Pretty much.
Stop.
It's so laughable, I don't even want to laugh.
When I heard about this, I was like, they can't be possibly giving him a rainbow cape. I knew he was getting a new cape. I'm like, oh, it's probably just a redesign. And I looked at it, I'm like,
nope.
You're kidding me, right?
It's a pride cape.
Let me make something clear. Superman, regardless of who he's been or whatever, has had a distinct look. Mm-hmm. Has his look changed? Has it been tweaked here and there?
Yes, especially given the various multiverse versions.
But it's usually included the blue costume and the red cape.
Not a rainbow cape, you dumbasses.
Nobody wants to see Superman flying around in a pride flag. Even the people on Twitter who scream about how amazing this is, keep in mind, don't actually go by the comics, like the idea of the character, not actually what he is. And 3, have no idea about the history of Superman or anything. And if they go out and get the comics, they'll buy just one and then never get it again.
Yeah.
Every time you do this, and let me talk to my good old friend. How's it going, Tom? How you doing?
I think he still blocked you.
Not destitute on the street yet because of your failing comic sales? Then again, given the industry, they're just probably hiring you all over so you could just race, gender swap their characters because that's all they're good for, right, Tom?
He probably lives in the office.
I don't know. Aside from the fact he's a coward and blocked me, along with the lady who made the cape, because apparently critiquing the cape, which I did very lightly, is apparently not allowed.
For some reason.
Both of you are cowards, but let's talk to Tom because I know him better. Okay, Tom, every time you do this and make these changes, you are not going to make the comic more popular. It gets a slight bump because people will go buy it and people will look at it and kind of get it for collector's issues, and then it will drop off. How long do you think you can keep trying to do this with shock value to get people to buy your product before it gets old? It's already gotten old.
If you want proper shock value, do something that's actually original and something we really don't expect. Not pride flags or changing of sexuality or whatnot. Just do something that hasn't actually been done before. That's what sells.
Yes. And they don't seem to realize that because they keep seeking out this fictional audience that doesn't exist. It only is on Twitter. Most of them probably are not actual people. We'll find out once everything goes down with Twitter. They don't buy the comics. They don't care. They just scream about how it makes them feel represented or seen or whatever. And then your comic sales go up and immediately fall down.
Off a cliff.
This is not how you sell comics. Do you want to sell comics? Then you need to actually make a product that people want to read on a regular basis. You can't keep going to the surprise bag and pulling out some random crap and saying, look, we've made this magical change, and getting people angry or upset to talk about it so that you get marketing. Yeah, we're talking about it, but here's the thing. We're not promoting this comic.
We're laughing at it.
We're not angry at it either. I literally couldn't actually believe that this was happening because it was such a stereotype that I was like, they can't be that stupid.
Every time you guys do something stupid, we say they can't do anything more stupid. And then literally the next day, they immediately prove you wrong with something infinitely more stupid. Rinse, repeat.
Yeah. So we're kind of tired of this. Your shock value thing isn't working. It's not going to get something that I'm going to be like making a bunch of videos to rage on. I think you're a coward. You have me blocked. I actually haven't blocked you back. I'm waiting for the day that you unblock me, Tom, because that'll be a day either you'll finally decide to stop being a coward, or maybe you actually have something to say to me.
Nah, he's too much of a coward to stop being a coward.
My comic sales!
Wah!
Come on, Tom. What are you afraid of? Unblock me. Come have a dialogue with me. I'll be fair.
Put on your big boy pants.
Stop being a super baby and come unblock me and let's have a discussion.
Like a man.
If you can't do that, then you just prove everything that I say about you is true. Come prove me wrong, Tom. Come on.
Come on, be a man.
Let's be honest, you don't have any comics to write because they're not selling.
Ouch.
Especially when you're involved.
Oof.
Prove me wrong.
Let's move on. Our next client is Annabeth Chase.
The Walt Disney Company continued to show their true colors as they broke another one of their promises with the race swapping of Annabeth Chase and Grover Underwood for their upcoming Disney Plus series.
Ugh.
And as you can see, Double D is here to help us, holding a booklet with facts. Turning a white character black for the sake of diversity is not only racist, but it tells black people they're not good enough to have their own characters.
It's not wrong.
You can argue with that, but he does have a point. Annabeth has been established as a character who's blonde, who has white skin.
Tanned white skin, but clearly Caucasian and clearly blonde.
Rick Riordan has decided to not adhere to his promises to the fans and race swap her, and then claims he did it because it doesn't matter about the skin color, whatever, the character, it matters what the character qualities, and that would be fine and good if it wasn't for the fact that you're not allowed to criticize this, because if you criticize it, you'll get a bunch of people dogpiling on you online and sending you death threats and getting mad at you because you dared to criticize something that's been established a certain way, that has been changed, and you didn't say, I don't like this and I won't watch it, or that the person's stupid. You simply pointed out an observation. Why am I saying this, honey? Why am I saying this?
Because my love here did get those death threats.
Not that I take them seriously, mind you.
True, they should still beware of my hexes in their sleep.
I don't know. Look at this. I don't care about you mewling, crying children on Twitter. You don't scare me. You scream as much as you want, and guess what? Nothing happened.
No.
I didn't delete the tweet.
Nope. It's still there.
I didn't do anything because my opinion on it stands.
Mine too. I completely agree with him.
And does that mean that this can't be good? No. I'm just disappointed when somebody tells us they're going to do something, then changes it, then tries to justify it, and then when you merely point out an observation, you're obviously racist and we need to attack you. No.
Didn't he even say that he hated the movies? Hell, I hated the movies, and I was a big fan of the books back then. I wasn't very happy with the minor changes that he suddenly did in the sequel series, but at least it seemed organic.
Yeah, look, I wasn't going to watch this, but I merely made a comment and got attacked for it, and it was just so stupid, and all I have to say to any of you weirdos who are watching is please, please, please come to the front office. We'll have your parents come pick you up. I know it's scary, but you can't find your mommy and daddy, but we'll help you, okay? It's a big bad world out there where people have different opinions, and they might not exactly align with yours. If that makes you soil your pants out of fright, then maybe you shouldn't be on Twitter.
But honestly, if they wanted to make a character black, they should have just gone with Beckendorf. I always read Beckendorf as a black kid.
Whatever. I'm not interested in this show. I wasn't that interested. I literally made a comment, just, passed by comment, and it got me so much hate, and it was just stupid.
Yeah.
You're all stupid. You're all hypocrites. You try to preach tolerance of something, you read into people's words for anything you can find reasons to be upset with, and try to preach tolerance while screaming and yelling and making people everything but tolerant.
Yeah, that's not very tolerant of you people.
Not saying that I'm not tolerant, just pointing out that I made a comment. Cry more.
Seriously.
Maybe if you cry enough salty tears, you too could become a sea god.
Sea demigod.
Whatever.
Moving on. Next up, we have the Multiverse of Madness.
Things just got out of hand.
You think?
Marvel Studios' latest film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, has finally arrived in theaters, and moviegoers are sharing their reactions to the films.
Spoilers, it's not a horror movie like they said it would be.
Well, no, I've heard it's a mixed bag. I've heard it has some cringe moments, so I've compiled a bunch of cringe moments for you guys to look at the back, and I would call it the Multiverse of Cringe. I'm not saying the movie can't be enjoyable. I'm pointing out that the movie's qualities have dipped severely from the past, and as a result, the movies don't interest me. My wife and I have not seen it.
Nah.
We're not going to see it.
We lost our interest in this movie a while ago.
I have no interest in watching any of the shows. The one thing I will say that people have mentioned that I think is whatever, whether you like the movie or not, The fact that Marvel and Disney are now requiring you to watch all the shows on Disney Plus to understand things in the movies is stupid.
Yeah.
Just because you want money doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Green Lantern for a while did that with all the different lanterns, and everything was connected into the same final story. It was really weird because you really had to read all the comics to know what was going on.
Yeah, but not even with the comics. In the movies, doesn't make any sense. Sorry. I'm not saying you can't enjoy the movie. I've heard things about it. We're not going to spoil it here because we haven't seen it. We do know spoilers, but we're not going to bring those up. You can go see it and enjoy it for yourself or not like it, whatever you want. Doesn't bother me. I will say that I am not interested. I think the way they are marketing these things is stupid. I think bringing in the newer, all new, all different characters that nobody liked in the comics is not a great marketing idea, but it doesn't matter because they're going to keep doing it anyways. But don't you criticize it, because if you criticize it, you're just a bigot.
I wanted to see Nightmare. They're never going to bring in Nightmare, are they?
I don't know if they did. Maybe they did.
I don't know. They brought in some sort of tentacled thing. But not Nightmare on his writing his Nightmare.
Whatever.
He's a cool character. I wanted him to be the villain.
Alright, let's not talk anymore because we're going to go into spoilers then.
Oh, right. Good point.
But yeah, we didn't spoil anything for you guys. Go see it if you'd like. Don't see it if you don't want to. We won't go see it. We're not interested. If you don't like that, that's on you. We are going to stick by our word. We're just going to report on it if we hear anything interesting. But right now, we're not going to spoil it for you guys. You can go see it yourself. Enjoy it. Don't like it. Do like it. Whatever you want. We just have our opinions, and that's fair.
Yes. Moving on to our last client of the day, Doctor Who.
Actor... I can't even read that.
Ncuti Gatwa?
Will take over from Jodie Whittaker as the star of Doctor Who, the BBC has announced. Here's the thing. I've mentioned multiple times that the way they've done with the show and whatever has ruined it for me.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I hear this announcement, I feel nothing. But what I will point out is, as you can see from all the messages, people are already going out there with the well, if you don't like it, you're just racist.
Because it's a black guy.
I've seen the show that this guy is most known for. He does have the right energy for the role.
For the madman in the box.
However, in the show, Sex Education, that he's in, he is very flamboyantly gay.
Overly.
And that's not the problem here. The problem is, my concern is they're going to push this character as less of the doctor and more of he's black gay doctor. And again, there is no problem having a doctor like that. The issue I have with it is that if you're pushing all these themes before an actual story, you're going to have the exact same problem that's made Doctor Who, the fandom, so divisive, and the ratings continue to be in freefall. Claim otherwise all you want. Numbers do not lie.
They do not.
You can choose not to believe them if you don't want to.
But as you can see, here is another compilation of all the cringe.
Yeah, and people, for example, saying, it goes without saying, I'm also living for the mental gymnastics from the brigade of people who are upset that Jodie Whittaker is a woman, and they will now need to come up with reasons why the doctor has to not only be male, but also white and straight. No. People who quit Doctor Who because of Peter Capaldi or Jodie Whittaker don't deserve to live.
Seriously?
In 500 years, Doctor Who is still running. Fans point to the weird bit at the beginning where it was just like a dozen white male humans in a row that we didn't really talk about.
Lies.
If they play this correctly, which they do have Russell T Davies back, if they play this correctly, this could work out well. However, for me, the show is dead until they retcon or do away with the Timeless Children.
Agreed.
And even when if they do, there's no guarantee that I'll come back.
Yeah, the damage is too severe.
When you damage a show is one thing. When you damage a fan base, that's another thing. When people have valid criticism and your response is to cry and say they're toxic fandoms and attack them, you literally not only make it that they won't come back, but you also make it personal. This show meant a lot to me.
You have no idea.
Now it's gotten to the point where all I can do is look at it and kind of go, huh, it's not even that I hate it. I actually think this guy could be good. But if you don't retcon it or change the Timeless Children, it's not going to bring me back.
No.
Sorry. You can skip over things in the past, you can pretend it doesn't exist, but it still does. Because anybody who comes in can pick it right back up again.
Yes. The Timeless Children has to die.
Yes, they have to die. It has to become back to the way it was. And at that point, perhaps we can move forward. But even at that point, I don't know if I'll be back. I really was completely had my trust shattered. You bent the knee once, you'll do it again.
Yes.
Let's wait and see how this is. Will it be a train wreck? Will it be great? Who knows?
We'll wait and see. Time will tell, as they say. And with that, we move on to the diagnosis of the week.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for you.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for this week is pathological narcissism.
Please explain.
So pathological narcissism is basically this need to be admired with a lack of empathy, and you have a grand sense of importance, but you also are preoccupied with your success. You believe you're special, you require admiration, self-entitled, exploited, all this kind of stuff. These people lack feeling. They try to get attention because they don't know how to exist otherwise. And it seems like that's what they do these days. In pop culture, all these people do is try to find any way they can to get attention, to get outrage, to get people to click, to get people to whatever, because they actually lack the depth and emotion required to maintain a fan base. And as a result, they need to keep making these changes and big statements to try to win people over. But those people were never going to actually buy the product. They were never going to support the thing. And it doesn't matter. So you can be admired, you can get as many retweets as likes, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You're still going to have this problem over and over and over again. And that's why I think that this is a very fitting diagnosis for this week.
I completely agree.
And now we move on to the remedy of the week.
And this week, we will be sending you to Superman, if he wasn't scared of green rocks. You can call him Sups. He makes vids, follows stocks, Friday Night Tights, and anything else that he finds interesting. He also makes some funny meme videos.
Yeah, and he says that he wears the mask to protect the people he cares about. And basically, he's a great guy. He's been a great supporter of myself and my wife. He makes all these really, really cool, as my wife said, memes and things for shows and stuff. And so he's someone you want to have on your side. He's only at 435 subscribers at this point.
Let's get him to 500 at least.
Let's try and see if we can bump him up there. He's a good guy to follow. He does make some great content. You should go check him out. You can find him on YouTube or Twitter. So I'll leave a link in the description. Go check him out and let him know that
Gothic Therapy referred you.
Indeed. But yeah, that's all we have for this week. Remember to let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged. Also, you can find links to all of our socials in the description below, as well as a link to our merch store and our Discord server known as The Clinic. Be sure to check them out.
Yeah, and remember, if you subscribe today,
your first session is free.
Yeah, but that's all we have for this week, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Gothic Therapy, out.